So just to start off this conversation, just to keep it simple, my name is Ruben, and the purpose of this conversation is to speak to my wife, Aranja, and talk about stuttering, stammering for International Stuttering Awareness Day 2022. So thank you for spending this time now talking to me, but we do that already anyway.
Yeah, exactly. This is very professional looking.
A bit more than we have at home, I guess.
We got dressed up for this chat.
How do you feel, by the way, being here like this, talking about like stuff in front of a camera festival?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit nerve-wracking, but we've already been speaking about stammering or stuttering since we started dating. So it's just sort of come into my life the moment you came into my life.
Before we met each other, did you ever come across a person who like experienced that as well, or was it the first time?
There was no one in school or no family members that had a stammer or stutter, so it was only literally Colin Firth in King's Speech.
Yeah, that film.
Which was a very emotional movie, so that was the only reference point I had in terms of that.
And then we met each other and started talking, and then I can't remember exactly when I told you about it, or did you sense anything kind of like we had the phone calls that there was some kind of pausing or hesitation at all?
Before we dated, I was told you had something to do with your speech, like some sort of impediment, but I wasn't exactly told it was stammering or stuttering. So I went into it expecting, I thought it was a lisp. That's what I was told. So during our phone calls, I was sort of talking to you and like expecting to hear a lisp, but I didn't hear one. And to be honest, I didn't hear any stammering or stuttering from you.
Interesting.
But you were just very chilled when you spoke to me on our phone calls, while I was very like super fast. So I just thought, oh, that's just the way you speak, just very calm, slow, and well, not slow, but just
relaxed.
Yes, relaxed, casual vibes is what I got.
Interesting. Okay. And then when was like the first time you saw me experience like a block or some kind of freeze?
I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint because I wasn't just sort of seeing you going, yes, this is it. I'm going to wait till you stutter and then see how I feel about it. It was loads of other things. Like obviously it's our first date, so I had other worries about myself. So I was conscious about things. I don't think you stammered as much when you were with me. So I didn't really notice it. And I just thought, oh, it was just I just sensed it a little bit. And until you'd speak to my friends, and then I would notice it a bit more.
Okay.
But you said early on, obviously, if someone stammers, just don't finish their sentence for them. That's a big no-no. Let them finish their sentences. So I'm someone that interrupts everyone all the time. So I had to literally, I've learned through, how long have we been together? Like,
leave me hanging.
Oh.
7 years?
7 years of like learning just to like let you finish your sentence.
Do you find that hard? Sometimes.
Not actually. Oh yeah, sometimes. Oh, here we go.
No, I'm just asking. As in, do you find it hard? Like,
I think at the
excited?
Beginning, I purposely made effort to not do it. But as we go along our relationships, we're living together now, we're married. Sometimes I forget, and I'm just like, no, Ruben, it's this. And then you're like, can you let me finish? And I'm like, oh, sorry. I do apologize when I stop, and you do need to put me in my place, as you so put it. So
is that what I said at the time? No, come on.
But no, but that's part of being married or being in a relationship. Like we have to tell each other sometimes, you know, it's okay to forget. But yeah, so when you sort of stammered with my friends, I was initially thinking, oh no, we haven't told my friends what to do if you stammer. So I was thinking, oh no, I didn't give them the sort of course to be like, let Ruben finish. But some of them naturally let you finish. Some of them may think, because they're thinking, oh, we're just going to finish his sentence, it will help him. I think that's some of the misconceptions.
That's when it's trickier, kind of, if you're having a block and it's like kind of silent and kind of seems like it's at the end of the sentence maybe.
Yeah.
In like a strange way, it's easier if you're having like a proper kind of like a block, because you can, as in like it's clear that that I'm still speaking.
Yeah.
It isn't
yeah.
like kind of that's the end of the sentence.
I don't think my parents realized. I didn't give them the talk, but sometimes when you're having a block, because it's not so obvious, they think you finished and they think, oh, you mean this? And
my mum's the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think generally Asian parents just don't know what they're doing.
I'm
so
like,
they're
Mum, wait, let me finish. You're literally talking to yourself right now.
And I'm just watching there going, oh, no, Auntie, he hasn't finished. I don't want to say you did a good job of covering it, because I didn't think it was that much of an issue until you went to a program with people that stammer or stutter.
Yeah.
That was my first real exposure to that. And
I showed you that video, right?
Yeah, you showed me a video.
I still remember because I showed to you and then you started crying.
I know, because
and I was like,
you
whoa.
were stuttering and blocking at every single word. You couldn't say your name, and that just sort of broke my heart a bit, because I didn't think that was the kind of struggle you had to deal with. I never knew that.
That's quite strange as well, because I showed you that video after we had been going out maybe for 2 years.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it.
It was quite strange.
Because I have this opinion of you just...
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, confident. You love socializing, you know, talking to anyone and everybody, sometimes too much. And then now here I'm seeing you at probably your most vulnerable.
Yeah, but then at the point of all this awareness and stuff is that people, they can still be confident, they can still be social, but it just takes them kind of a bit more time to speak.
Yeah, because I do know some other people since I started dating you. Oh yeah, so-and-so has a stammer, my dad does, or my brother does. And they just tend to be very quiet or don't even speak. So then it confuses me, because I'm like, my husband has a stammer. He talks more than me. But yeah, I guess you're trying to break that sort of stigma.
Yeah. That's when kind of it's important that people have a help and assistance at the right time, because with like bad experiences, then that may stop them from then speaking to people, or like kind of taking part in group activities, and bit by bit they just become quieter and quieter.
I just can't imagine already, if you're a shy person, have to speak in a group, and then you have to add a stammer into that. It's crazy. And I don't think I realized just how difficult it is, because obviously I don't have it. But then when I saw your video, and then I've seen you at restaurants, or just like simple things, speaking to the waiter and just having to, and then you have your blocks, and sometimes the waiters seem impatient. And then I'm like, how can you be so impatient? Can you not see? But sometimes it's not obvious.
It's not obvious.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's not clear sometimes. So it's a bit tricky.
You need to wear a sign saying I've got a stammer.
A problem around kind of people that have kind of these invisible barriers is that it's a bit grey. So then people, they may laugh by accident, or they may say like the wrong thing. And then that can be like a bad experience that the person takes away.
Yeah, because I think someone looks at you and they think, what's the issue with this guy? There's nothing. And so when you start blocking, it's they start laughing.
Yeah.
Because the first thing is, oh, this is a joke, rather than, oh, stop and think, understand what's happening. Why is it happening? He must have a speech impediment.
Yeah.
But obviously no one's perfect. I mean, we're not perfect either.
Of
so
course. I got laughed at back at the board game place, remember?
Yeah, I know.
Was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
I know, I couldn't believe it.
I just wanted a chair, but yeah.
So what, you asked for the chair?
And took a long time, had kind of a silent block. And then the person laughed and just kind of...
Didn't it also happen when you were at work for an internship? This girl was like trying to contain her laughter or something.
Well, she didn't really, as in like...
She failed.
Yeah, but that was a while back now. So I think that happened in 2010. And I guess kind of the awareness around these type of things was a bit less because of the laughter happened in like at the workplace. That shocked me as well.
Yeah.
So
it's not like playground bullies, it's like professionals.
Oh, no. Professional bullies.
Professionals in an office building or someone in board games, like adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did you speak to your parents about it, and did they react well, or I don't know how?
Okay.
Is the best question.
Putting me on the spot. So I think I told them quite early on, as soon as we started, as soon as we became official. I just told them, oh, this is Ruben. He does this. This is his job. This is his age, star sign. And he also has a stammer. And they're like, what? What is that? And I'm like, oh, it's just a speech impediment. And I had to like act it out because they don't, you know, they don't know what a speech impediment is. So I acted it out. And then my dad was like, oh, yeah, I know what that is. They didn't really say much. They were just kind of like, okay, if you like him. Probably because like you were in other criteria, you were employed and, you know, you seemed...
I fit the bill.
Kind of, yeah. So, and I think they were maybe intrigued with when they meet you, how it is. Hence, that's how I was.
Okay.
You know, I was like, I don't know, let's see. And then you seemed... It wasn't like a big part of you. So, I don't know if... Were you purposely like... Were you trying to cover it up or...
Maybe partly kind of at that time. If I speak to friends and family, then it's a bit more. And maybe that's kind of because the guard is down more, if that makes sense.
So you're saying you stammer more when your guard is down?
That's not a fixed rule, by the way.
Yeah. No, it changes.
There's no like kind of like...
It can come randomly.
Yeah. But then say if I'm going to like a job interview, then I would be practicing responses and visualizing questions and that type of stuff.
Well, I don't know, because you've told me how sometimes when your guard is up because of bad experiences. Yeah. Like, for example, Tamil people. You sometimes feel like you stammer more because as soon as you stammer the first time, and then you're just, I don't know, but you're remembering what they used to say back in the past, and then does that lead you to
wasn't
stammer
words
more?
really, but I think it was more like looks and...
Oh, yeah.
The older people, they have just that vibe of like they're speaking to you, but they're judging every detail as well.
Ruben, it's not just about us. It happens to all of us, so don't worry. Secretly analysing you. Yeah. Picking points. Yeah. No, okay.
And they may not say much, but their face speaks a lot.
Speaks 1,000 words. Yeah. You know, I remember a story you were telling me where you went on a date and the orange juice story. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
So funny. I mean, it's not funny, but you're telling me and I was like, oh my God, it's so cute.
Yeah, well, we went to eat somewhere and the waiter came and then asked us for like our drink
I have to interject. This is not us.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
This is a time before Aranja. So.
Is there a time before Aranja? I think I felt kind of a silent block on like the O, and I was trying to say it, but then I pulled back and like I changed the order to pineapple juice.
Instead of orange juice.
Yeah. And that's what I drank. That was my drink afterwards.
On all your dates.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was my drink afterwards. It was quite nice as well, but you know.
But you wanted orange juice.
I wanted orange juice. It's frustrating as well because like in some aspect I like kind of felt confident because I was at the gym training and doing sports and that type of stuff. But then there's this thing with your speech and like you feel kind of like a fraction of for the rest of the people around you because you can't really do like a basic activity that people around you can. And I felt okay in sports or gym and that type of stuff, but then if I had to speak in front of people, then I was like, no way. I'll be in the back somewhere, hiding.
I can't imagine you being in the back because you're always at the front. Every time we're walking somewhere.
And that's quite painful as well, right?
Oh, you find that painful still?
If you think about it. No. For a person who I want to be kind of like speaking in front of people, but they're being stopped.
Because I know when we first started dating, you were into Muay Thai, you went to Thailand a few times, and now you're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and a few competitions. Do you think you threw yourself into all the sports and sort of gym workouts and everything to sort of compensate?
It's an outlet, right?
For what? Like
just for kind of expression, that type of stuff, because when people speak, it's them sharing ideas, expressing themselves. And people like I do that as well through like dance or sports, through writing. I did those fights and all the trainings and stuff, but I still found speaking scarier.
Oh my God. Someone's literally trying to hit you.
Yeah.
No. It's things we take for granted. It's like I don't know how to say it. It's like a basic right. And so sometimes when I see you stammer in situations, it just makes me think, wow, it puts things that I go through in perspective. Of course, we all go through stuff, but you know, you've done TEDx, you've done speeches at universities, and I get scared to go on a Zoom call. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, you know, I even ask you for advice. Like, tell me how I can improve.
Yeah.
You just took what you have and turned it to show, look, I've got a stammer and I can do all of this. What's sort of stopping you?
If it crops up at like a bad time, like say if we argue about something, you find it annoying then, or...
I mean, if we're arguing, I've already found you annoying. So, to be honest, obviously when you're angry and you're just like shouting, and then you shout back.
I don't shout a lot.
We don't shout. We're very happy.
But if I do shout, then...
No, you don't shout a lot. No, it's more me shouting. No, but when you do stammer while we're arguing, it's like this like sympathetic emotion comes over me and I'm like, oh my God, like the decent right is to give you the ability to say your sentence because that's a fair argument. You know, it can't just be me saying everything and then you don't get a chance to say something. So actually when you block and stammer, it gives me time to think. So I can be like,
interesting.
Okay, like it calms me down a little bit whenever you block.
Okay, cool.
And it makes me feel, I remember then, oh, you have a stammer. And it makes me like you a bit more compared to before when I was really angry with you. I think it's a blessing in disguise, to be honest, whenever we have an argument
and it takes
sometimes, not all the time, obviously, because I'm still angry with you. Okay. But most of the time, I think it's a blessing in disguise because it makes me remember, give him his chance. Because when people argue, they're not thinking...
interrupting each other, right?
Yeah, but they're also not thinking, I'm going to say my piece and I'm going to now let him say his piece. Yeah. That's a debate. That's not an argument.
Okay.
So no, I don't think there's any pet peeves. I have pet peeves about other stuff you do, but nothing to do with your stammer. As I'm sure you do with me.
Yes, a few things, but that's... yeah. That's life, right?
But yeah, like we're in our sort of 30s. And obviously like this was something that I thought about while we were dating, but with like kids and things. Because I didn't know stammering and stuttering is hereditary. It could be passed down to our children. Obviously, at the point when I realized that, we'd been dating for like a year. I really didn't do much research into this. But at that
That's quite
point,
surprising as well.
I know, I research everything.
For you, yeah.
I was just like, oh yeah, it's a stammer, stutter. You've told me a few things. All right, you know? So yeah, it obviously was a concern. And I did say this to you, like, if we have kids, I wouldn't want the child to have a stammer or stutter because it is difficult, you know, starting out in school. But you're like the best role model for the kid to have. I mean,
yeah.
You've experienced it all.
Mm-hmm.
So what better way for it to grow up in that way?
Yeah.
I say it. We clearly
I was about to say
kids.
that. I was like, and it as well. Come on. I have a question. And I was wanted to ask you if you think the stutter is cute or not.
Oh God, no. I don't. That's a weird question.
I'll tell you why afterwards. But
if it's a little kid and it's stuttering, because the kid's cute, you know, I would be like, oh my God, that's so cute. Like Musharraf, when he was stuttering, I wouldn't say cute, but I felt so emotional. I was bawling my eyes out. So I don't think that would be cute. Like that's not the word to use. But no, when you stutter, I don't think it's cute.
Some people say it's cute, and it pisses off people because they're like, it's not cute. Like it's like a genuine thing that I've been struggling with.
But I don't think. I think that might be something if there's a girl that stammers. But now we're venturing onto a different area now because if a girl she's going on a date and she stammers and the guy's like, oh, I think you're so cute because you stammer. It's still not nice to say because you know she's like, I'm my own woman, you know. But maybe if you're a man and
I think guys have experienced it as well.
They've been
from girls saying, "Oh,
really
you're cute."
Oh, it's cute. That's so like patronizing a bit.
Yeah. It's just them seeing a small part of it as well.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that happens in the background, and then because it's kind of a thing that people have been experiencing for most of their lives, and in general, there'll be more bad experiences than
it's not a cute experience. It's emotionally draining, it's traumatizing, and you go through stuff and it affects your mental health. That's not cute. You know,
thank you for that. Thank you.
No, but it's true. Like you know, you've told me about your childhood, you told me what you've gone through, and it's so easy to make me cry. So if someone laughed at me the way I spoke, like and you get that, you just got that 2 weeks ago, and you just have to move on. Interesting.
Say, for example, like a guy spoke to your friend, and if they are dating someone who had some kind of maybe a stammer or something, what would be your advice to your friend on like approaching like a first date and all that type of stuff?
I would say, if he hasn't mentioned he has a stammer, but it's obvious, just wait till he mentions it, or if you feel comfortable, then just ask, oh, by the way, do you have a stammer? And then quickly mention, my friend's husband has a stammer. You know, find that connection. But obviously do not finish the sentences. It's a difficult one because a stammer is only a part of the person. Like I said, when I went into the date with you, I wasn't really focusing on it too much. To be honest, I don't feel like you stammered that much. I don't know if you were really focusing hard not to, and to speak casually, you know, because
I was quite relaxed actually. So it's, I don't know.
Oh, well, thank you. That effect. I noticed it more later. We've been dating for a few months more. So that's the advice I would give my friend. Just, it's still a date with a guy, so get to know him. The stammer isn't his main focus, but just don't finish his sentences.
Just for context as well. So like for the person that's stammering, so they will be thinking of like the date, the ordering of food at the restaurant.
Oh my God.
They'll be thinking of, so if this goes well, I'll get a second date, but then there'll be a point when they meet the friends, and then there'll be more people. People will be asking questions. That's kind of like the nature of it. You are scared of having these bad experiences again. So you think, if I do this, then that's going to happen. No.
This is exactly what people go through generally on a first date, but then to add on top, I have a speech impediment, so I need to deal with that on top of this. So the amount of preparation, I guess, that goes into this date. And also, currently, obviously, most guys plan the first date. So that on top of then impressing the girl, and I need to then, I might block, I might stammer. What does that mean for our relationship or future dates?
Yeah.
So like if you are blocking and you're stammering, number one, do you notice how long it's taking, or does time just stand still when it happens? And number two, what do you want the other person to do when you stammer and block? Do you want them to keep eye contact with you?
Like the first question, time just freezes. It feels longer. And like the block itself, if that makes sense.
So it feels longer for you.
Yeah. So there could be like a 3-4 second block or freeze, but for me or someone else, that could feel like 10 seconds maybe or more. But that's just because it's really quiet, because people are like,
To
oh
be
my
honest,
God,
when things go quiet, everything feels a lot longer.
Yeah. And to your second question, try to keep engaged if you can. Like, it's tough, right? Because there's like a interruption in that conversation, and when people are speaking, there's like a link, right? And if there is a pause or a break, then there is a break hidden at that link between people. So like, just try to stay engaged. There's been times in the past where like I've spoken to people and I'd be blocking, and while I'm blocking, they'll be checking messages.
Oh my God, that is so bad. That is so rude. Yeah. Do you know what I think
I should text them maybe and say, stop checking messages while they're checking it.
Do you know what I think it is? I don't know if a lot of people know about stammering or stuttering. I didn't, apart from the King's Speech.
And that's why we're doing kind of like...
No, this is so good.
This type of stuff, right? Because... about the King's Speech, it's great. That came out in 2011.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
To be honest, I watched half of it.
You didn't finish it?
No, then I finished it after I started dating you.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
I was like, okay, that's the only mode of like reference I have.
Take notes.
What did the Queen Mother do that I could do?
Make him swear a lot, just like me.
You don't swear at all.
And what about you?
All the time. But no, that's really interesting.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think it's brought a lot of awareness to my friends and my family even, because they didn't know anything about it.
There are people out there that are your like friends or cousins of friends or stuff, and they could be experiencing as well, or they could have a friend who's experiencing it. And by maybe sharing these thoughts and experiences, get awareness about it.
I know. And remember,
then it helps.
One of my friends, she said her cousin had a stammer, and she thought for you to talk to him, and you did, and you met up, had Nando's, because you doing this and you speaking openly, you spoken openly about this. It's like, oh, look at this guy, like, he likes sports, he does this, he goes out, he loves speaking, he's getting on with his life, and he also has a stammer. So having a stammer doesn't mean that you just need to hide it and stop doing public speaking things or stop putting yourself forward for certain things. It doesn't mean that. Just own it.
Yeah. It's just trickier, isn't it? And it's just up to the person just to like inform their friends and family first, and then bit by bit they can turn those key areas into like their safe space. Yeah,
agreed. And I think it's amazing that, especially what you do on LinkedIn and the TEDx speech that you did, and you're doing another one.
Yeah.
I just can't believe it.
In Croydon as well. Come on.
But I also can believe it because of your determination and just bringing more awareness to it. So it's amazing stuff. So remember what I just said, because I don't say this a lot.
Well, it's recorded, so I'm gonna keep playing on loop.
Awesome. I know we'll touch on this briefly because you didn't go through the arranged marriage route with me, obviously. But is that something that your parents had that they were concerned about?
My mum was.
Yeah.
And I think it's more because in that route, I think people, they become a bit more picky.
They're not even rejecting people on stammers. They're rejecting people on various other things too.
Yeah.
So I guess it would have just been a lot harder for you if you went down that route.
They didn't want kind of things like that. condemn my confidence. These would just be kind of the opinions of like strangers who are in for that filtering process.
Yeah.
But I do remember the first time I spoke to Mum about you, and then I told her, oh, like he's okay, like about the speech and stuff like that, and she actually came to my talks and stuff, and Mum was like, really? Oh my god, and then that was like big relief for her. Had I found a person had accepted me.
But that's the thing, like I accepted you for it, like you accepted me, but again, your stuttering, your stammer, it's a part of you.
Of course, yeah.
You have other aspects to you, and when you put that all together, it creates Ruben Pillai, you know, and that's what someone falls for.
I'd be different if I didn't have it, so
no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't probably even like you, maybe.
Let that sink in.
Everything happened for a reason, maybe.
Yeah, I think it did. So I'm trying to think of the best way to finish off the conversation.
Thank you for taking me on this journey with you, because it's opened my eyes learning about this.
I appreciate you for saying that, and it's been fun.
This has been fun. And on to the next one.
It's the beginning only, right?
Of course. Can I beatbox?
You can try to beatbox. What's that hand for? There's a mic in front of you.
I don't know. All right, are we done?
Yes.